This is our weekly healthy lesson. I like to just keep it real, and hopefully things are understandable in a way that will really invigorate you and inspire you to take some better action for yourself, even if it's just changing the way that you're thinking about something, creating those positive changes a little bit deeper each and every day, because I just love you so much. Okay, so today we're talking about stress, the big stress. Oh my goodness. It's really done a number on us this last year and a half on so many different levels. I mean, it has just been an incredibly challenging couple of years for all of us, literally all of us over the entire world. There's been so much going on. So today we're going to be talking about that kind of chronic stress that happens during a pandemic, right? When there is upheaval in our society on so many different levels, really changing. And that's what we've had to do. We've had to change, and it's uncomfortable, and change, nobody likes it. Even if it's something that we want. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen over the last, decades that I've been working with myself and with women in weight loss and in health. It's like, even when we want the change, even when we want it, there is this incredible amount of resistance, whether it's internal resistance, whether it's from the outside and from family and friends and society, whatever it is, there is an incredible amount of draw, and it's like inertia towards sameness. There is a refusal of wanting to actually change, because what would that mean? What would that look like? What would that be like? And so there's a resistance to change, and it's so natural, ladies. It's so normal to have like a desire and a motivation to make a positive change in our lives, whether it's with our food or with exercise or with our health or the boundaries that we're setting or our relationships, to make that kind of change. Or maybe it's like with the Black Lives Matter. It's like, hey, we got to change the way that we think about things, the way that we do things. Even if we want it, it's still uncomfortable. There's still a draw to sameness. And I think that we can get very angry with ourselves about that, and very frustrated and down on ourselves, and go, oh, if we don't do it perfectly and we don't do it right, that it's like, oh, see, like I failed again, especially when it comes to weight loss and making healthy changes. There's probably a lot of reasons to change. And there's this really incredible book called How We Change and 10 Reasons Why We Don't. I just wanted to go through this here with you, and maybe you even would like to grab a pen and a paper and jot a couple of these things down, and especially the ones if you identify, but in a way where you're like, no, that's not me. That's not a fear that I have. That definitely no. I would encourage you to look at those ones with a keener eye and to jot those down, because typically the way that the mind works, the subconscious mind, that's one of the cool things about being a hypnotherapist, is I've been studying the way that the mind works. Like the draw towards sameness is so innate. It's so ingrained deep into the subconscious that the subconscious can kind of tell, and it can scan the outside world, and it knows when there's a vibe towards change, and it will immediately resist against it and go like, oh no, that's not for me. And that's what I found is almost every single time, that's the one thing that I actually need to reread. That's the one thing that I actually need to know. That's the one habit, the one that I don't think is going to make a difference whatsoever. That's the one that's going to be the kicker and the changer in my life for the transformation I'm looking for. And if you are committed, right, regardless of what's happened in the past, if you are like, I'm not freaking giving up. I feel like I want to give up. I don't freaking know what to do next. I've done all the diets. I've done all the things. I've followed all the people. I've bought all the magazines. I've done all the programs. And I'm freaking pissed off. If you are here, you actually have not given up yet. So I really want to congratulate you in that you have not given up. And if you are committed, even though it's messy, I'm going to encourage you to take a pen and paper and to jot some of these things down. Reason not to change number 1. Staying the same protects you from your aloneness and accountability. Change always makes you face your aloneness and accountability. That's an unavoidable fact about change. On the road from where you are to where you want to be, It's you, no one else, putting one foot in front of the other. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important to have community, to have some accountability, to have a group of people like this group or my private group where I see clients and we have several meetings a week where it's just us talking about this stuff and supporting each other through the change. And oftentimes it's got to be someone not family and friends. It's got to be someone outside that space that isn't going to be intimidated by big emotions, right? That isn't going to want you to just feel good for the sake of feeling good. They want you to actually push through the uncomfortableness so that you can feel better than you've ever felt. Reason not to change, number 2. Staying the same protects you from the accountability of what's next. Each change you make testifies that you are accountable for the life that lies ahead. The more you change, in other words, the more you see that future change is within your power. Power can be really scary, right? To really own that, I actually am creating my own reality. This actually might be happening for me, not necessarily to me. And I have the ability and the power to make a change. It's invigorating and also scary. And so that was number 2 reason not to change. Okay, so we're talking about stress and, when it comes to making a positive change, how we can have this pull, this draw towards sameness. I encourage you to grab a pen and a paper and jot this down. Reason not to change, number 3. Staying the same protects you from the unknown. By enacting change in your life, you face the unknown possibilities of a life that is in your hands. You thus must contend not only with exponential changes, but also with an unpredictable world, with a multitude of unpredictable potential experiences of disappointment. That's also true, right? There's no guarantees that it's all going to be well. I can't tell you how many ladies have come to see me. And I too had this for a really long time and had to work through this. It's like, okay, well, if I really do make a change and I really am happy and I work through all of that resistance and then I'm at my ideal weight and I'm feeling really great, then I don't actually know how to set boundaries with men. I don't know how to deal with the kind of attention that's different, that comes when I'm feeling really good and vibrant and my body is feeling good and my clothes are different and I have this different kind of energy and it's very attractive. Healthy is very attractive. And let me tell you, you can be healthy at any weight. It is not all about just being skinny mini. That's not what this is about. But what happens is that when we are at a weight that our body is struggling physically, our hormones get dysregulated and there is a draw on our energy. And it only takes like a couple of weeks, a couple of pounds, and it literally doesn't matter where you are on the scale. You know what I'm talking about. 200 on the way up is very different than 200 on the way down. And it's not just, oh, you're losing weight and people are treating you differently. Your energy, your vibe, your metabolism, your hormones are different. Like the energy that you're giving off is different. The twinkle in your eye is different. All of these things begin to change and it's scary. It can be really scary, especially if we're doing it on our own. All right, reason not to change, number 4. Staying the same protects you from your own expectations. Whew. When you raise your own expectations by making a change in your life, you always risk raising your faith in and hope of yourself. That means an increased risk for experiences of disappointment and loss of faith. Right? Because there's always going to be ups and downs and bumps in the road, right? That's the mentality of like waiting for the other shoe to drop. Right? Where it's like, yeah, it is. That's life. Life sucks sometimes. It really does. But does that mean that putting the energy and the effort into health and vitality and continuing to strive for, your best health and vitality is then not worth it? Well, no, of course not. But these are like, this is under the surface, right? These aren't necessarily reasons not to change that are right up there that we really can like see and grab onto. This is just under the surface, these underlying fears, this kind of chronic stress that we're a bit addicted to that keep us the same. Reason not to change, number 5. Staying the same protects you from the expectations of others. Oh my God, isn't that so real? Have you ever not told anyone that you were going on a diet because you're like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want them looking at me. I don't want any part of that. I don't want them questioning me if I eat, cheesecake again. Like, just no. When you make positive change in your life, you inevitably raise the expectations of others. Doing so, you risk that others will witness you as the author of your life and then expect more out of you. Woo! I've seen this a lot too in relationships, right? Where it's like, okay, man, you're feeling a lot better. You're looking a lot better. All right. Like, help out around the house, do some chores, go get a job. It's like, hey, no, I'm comfortable in our relationship the way that it is. All right. Reason not to change, number 6. Staying the same protects you from seeing where you are. Woo, a little reality check, right? Personal change requires that you assess what you must change. You don't want to just go willy-nilly doing the thing that the other person over there told you to do. Taking measure of yourself in the moment, and thus have the uncomfortable realization that something about you remains incomplete. It's very deep. Reason not to change, number 7. Staying the same protects you from the insult of small steps. That's a good one, because I want it to be like that, right? I want it quick. I want the diet that I'm going to lose 30 pounds in 30 days, 14 days, as a matter of fact. I did it that one time. Yeah, you were like on drugs. Like, that was crazy. That's not healthy. It's not sustainable, but we want that, right? We want the quick fix. I don't want to think about the pain. I don't want to feel the pain. I don't want to go through any of the work that it takes to actually sustain this. I just want it now. And it feels like an insult to have to think about the positive things that you're doing each day, even though it wasn't perfect, even if you might be having, 5 out of 7 meals be really good, but then you had a couple of binges, so you didn't lose any weight. Oh, but it's still progress. And it's hard to acknowledge that. To change, you must take incremental steps towards a goal. Each step, an insulting reminder of where you are and how far you have to go to reach your goals. To stay on the track of incremental change requires the ability to envision the goal you want to achieve while being able to act in a truly measured way, seeing things as they are, inch by inch. The making the plan, the going to the grocery store, the buying the food, the coming home, the prepping the food, the packaging up the food, the eating the food. It is like a small, tedious, the remembering water, getting to bed on time. There's so many things to consider. Over time, it becomes habit and it's no big of a deal. But at first, the small steps, and then you haven't really gotten the benefit yet. How do you keep that motivated? All right, reason not to change, number 8. Staying the same protects a memorial to your pain. I really get this one, right? I get that as a health coach and as someone who used to struggle with weight and with food and with binging and with all kinds of stuff. And it's not a struggle anymore. And I feel great in my body. And that can be a bit uncomfortable, right? It's like, how do I identify? How do I relate to other people? How can they really trust that I've been where they're at and I can help them? Staying the same is often the only means of protecting an enduring memory of past events that were painful and traumatic. Changing is thus like demolishing Demolishing a memory, it's tantamount to forgetting. Now, it's not forgetting, right? There really is no forgetting. You can forgive, but there really is no forgetting, right? We remember. We remember. That's deep. That's really deep. Getting close to home here. Reason not to change, number 9. Staying the same protects you from changing your relationship with others. Positive personal change inevitably creates the real change of uncertainty and even conflict in your relationships. It's true, because it's different. It's different. Birthday parties are different, holidays are different, celebrations are different when you're not engaging the way that you used to, especially if you're someone like me, who all of my social interactions with people revolved around food. I had no idea, no history, no experience, no knowledge, no wisdom whatsoever of engaging in any kind of relationship with another human being without some kind of food, and usually an overindulgence of whatever the food or drink was. And I had to change. I wanted to change. It was very uncomfortable, and my relationships with people are different. It's not that I don't ever eat out with people. I love eating out. It's one of the great joys of life, is sharing a meal with another human being. However, it's different than it used to be. And that can be uncomfortable, right? If you're the person who makes all the meals in the house for your family members, right? And now you're like, well, do I need to make a different meal for myself? Are they gonna want to like make some changes too? Like, how big do the changes need to be? What if they don't like it? What do I do? There's so many questions. And these are the things that come up and that we work through in the intimate coaching calls that we have in my program as well. I mean, it's real. Most of us are either married and or have children and or have work commitments and or have other people in the home that we're caring for. And navigating how to make a change without making it so that everyone has to do what we're doing, but then also not putting ourselves in a situation where we're constantly feeling uncomfortable and unsupported. That's a real thing. It's a real thing. All right, reason not to change, number 10. And this is kind of a funny topic, right? It's like, why are you telling me all the reasons I shouldn't change? This is just a little bit of a reality check, right? This is just a little bit of like, what's possibly going on underneath the surface that we're not totally aware of, that we can maybe uncover and unravel so that we go, oh yeah, that's just my resistance. It's totally workable. All of these things are figure outable. These are not the kind of obstacles that are unsurmountable. They're not outrageous to navigate and to figure out together. However, they are kind of underlying, like, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. See, I can't really do it. That's the justification that we give for these underlying kind of beliefs. Okay, reason not to change, number 10. Staying the same protects you from changing your relationship with yourself. Yeah. I had to change the way that I think about food. I had to change the way that I think about my body. I had to change the way I had to become aware of my inner dialogue. And it seems like that would be the easy part, right? It was like, hello, you're here. You're always, that's your own inner dialogue. Like, just change it. Easier said than done, my friend. Changing yourself means changing how you relate to you. So what we do when we're stressed out, what we do when we're confused, what we do when we're frustrated, what we do when people hurt our feelings, what we do when we don't know the right answer, what do we do when we're hungry, what do we do when our plan needs to change, what do we do? Right? And that is a very personal experience. And yet what I found is that when my clients come to our meetings, when they are willing to kind of show up and share that stuff, they get the love and the support and the guidance to take that next step forward. Just that, whatever that one little baby, the insult of the baby step, but all those little baby steps add up, and then we can we can really support and help each other. Just know how much I love you and I respect you. Just know how much I believe in you so wholeheartedly that I'm adamant, man. I'm putting the stake in the ground for your health, for your vitality, for you having the experience of feeling confident and powerful in your own body, of having freedom from food obsession, from weight that you don't want, from any of that. I love you so much. All right, ladies, I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.